Chapter 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A brilliant golden sun is embedded in the blue sky, and a piece of white cloud floats in the clear sky like a solitary sail on the blue sea, but at this time, in a deep canyon, there is an unpredictable and dense mountain atmosphere rising, like a magical gauze curtain, delicately and gracefully painted into a landscape painting, vaguely changing. It reveals a wild atmosphere, no, not vaguely, the towering trees, the canopy that blocks the sky and the sun, and the roaring sounds from time to time are like those from ancient times. Perhaps, this deep canyon has truly entered the barbaric era at some point. Groan. With a cry, the mountains and valleys echoed in an instant, and the sound shook the sky, almost piercing the clouds and cracking rocks. Looking up, it turned out to be a golden eagle cutting through the sky. However, the scary thing is that even if an ordinary golden eagle spreads its wings, it is only about 2 or 3 meters tall, but this golden eagle has a wingspan of 5 meters in length. Especially when I saw that it was covered with golden feathers that looked like pure gold, I couldn't help but feel shocked. Is this really a beast that can exist in this world? Come again. Amidst the slight solemnity, a willow tree that was already about 30 meters high was also rustling, and its branches were rising like a waterfall. Race, mutated golden eagle, lifespan, 2 of 60 years, level, enter the 7th level, born talent, scream, its scream is enough to pierce the eardrums, and it can even scare prey. An extremely terrifying talent, but unfortunately, its lethality to you is almost zero. After all, you are just a willow tree. Special ability, claws. Its claws are enough to tear through dozens of centimeters of steel plates. Golden wings, wings that have been strengthened repeatedly due to evolution, with a hardness comparable to that of alloy. Very detailed introduction. It was so detailed that Yu Ziyu was still shocked even after reading it several times. In terms of combat power alone, this golden eagle is truly terrifying. Without his existence, Yu Ziyu has no doubt that many years later, this canyon will brew a predator that is truly at the top of the food chain. You know, the golden eagle is known as the crown of raptors. After training, the golden eagle can even chase wolves on the grassland. Once upon a time, there was a terrifying record of a golden eagle catching 14 wolves. This shows how terrifying the golden eagle is, and now, this golden eagle has evolved several times. Who knows how terrifying it is? According to Yu Ziyu's guess, if it weren't for the terrifying aura he exuded, this golden eagle would have pounced on him long ago. Indeed, Yu Ziyu's guess was correct. As a predator at the top of the food chain, the golden eagle has long been the well-deserved overlord of this canyon, and it is because of a little spiritual intelligence that it has achieved its current status. However, even if it is already so powerful, looking at the strange willow tree on the ground, it can't help but shrink in size, full of vigilance. In its eyes, Yu Ziyu is different from other prey. Aura, or a kind of coercion. Animals and plants are more or less owned, and because, now that spiritual energy has revived and life has been transformed, this kind of aura that cannot be seen with the naked eye is even more terrifying. Like its prey, some of its own auras have reached 1 meter, and even worse, they have spread to 2 or 3 meters, but Yu Ziyu is different. This monster's aura reached a depth of 10 meters. It can be said that the area within 10 meters of his tree is covered by his aura, and it was precisely because he could sense the aura, or pressure, that the golden eagle lingered in the sky for half a month. With its intelligence, although it is not aware of the abnormality of the tree, it still understands its instinct to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. However, even so, the fragrance coming from far away still made it stop leaving, observe and wait. As a predator, the golden eagle has enough patience to spy on this unknown prey that makes its blood boil until it finds the opportunity to kill it with one strike. Why don't you pounce down? Quietly looking at the sky and the lingering golden giant eagle, Yu Ziyu also muttered in his heart. It has to be said that it feels uncomfortable to be stared at by such a predator at the top of the food chain, so much so that every time he notices the golden eagle, Yu Ziyu was instinctively alert to the presence of the eagle, and every branch was ready to attack, not only him, but also in the bird's nest under the canopy of Yu Ziyu's tree. Een een een. The sharp and continuous chirping also stimulated Yu Ziyu's nerves. The peregrine falcon, a very scary bird of prey, was also in the bird's nest that looked like a wash basin, screaming and jumping crazily, looking very nervous. Compared with the golden eagle, they are slightly inferior after all, not to mention, they are at the 3rd level, which is a full 4 levels different from the golden eagle. The gap in level, perhaps, can be bridged in other ways. For example, peregrine falcons can deal with land beasts of a higher level than them, but they will never be able to deal with this air overlord. Golden eagle, after all, as a bird of prey, the peregrine falcon's air superiority and terrifying speed will be insignificant in front of the golden eagle. At this time, there is no need to mention the red fox. Although it crawled out of the nest, its body could not stop trembling as it looked at the giant golden eagle lingering in the sky. Fox is just one of the golden eagle's recipes. P.S. Please collect and reward, today, for updates, 5 updates, or 6 updates, it's up to you. Comments say how many updates. Crimson will update a few times, asterisk caret caret asterisk, save manuscripts, a lot. Crimson is also very powerful. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That being the case. Looking at the giant golden eagle with spread wings that was still lingering 100 meters in the air, Yu Ziyu also lost the last of his patience. Although the real body is a willow tree, Yu Ziyu cannot bear to be mentally stressed for such a long time. In this case, he naturally chose to take action. However, the prerequisite for taking action is to let this giant golden eagle come down. Thinking of this, Yu Ziyu's thoughts couldn't help but fly. Why can't the golden eagle come down? While not coming down, why did the golden eagle refuse to leave for so long? Question after question turns over in my mind. Not long after, as if thinking of something, Yu Ziyu suddenly sneered. It should be fear. As an animal, even if it evolves, its intelligence must not be high. In this way, it can make it peek in secret, but it will hesitate. It can only be fearful. He is afraid. As for the object of fear, the peregrine falcon is definitely not it, and the red fox is unlikely. In this way, it is only me. But I didn't show too many abnormalities in front of him. After muttering this, Yu Ziyu's heart suddenly sank, because, until this moment, he had also thought of another possibility. Breath. The breath of the strong, the aura emanating from his body is so powerful that it makes the giant golden eagle fear him. Thinking of this, Yu Ziyu also had concerns in his mind. Call. Taking a deep breath, Yu Ziyu's body also slowly relaxed its pores. Trees breathe. Yu Ziyu's body is no exception. However, by chance, Yu Ziyu discovered that he could freely control the trees' breathing. That is to say, he can hold his breath for long periods of time like a human. And what does holding one's breath mean? According to Yu Ziyu's guess, there should be some hope of weakening some of the aura, just like a martial art in the previous life, turtle breathing technique. Suck. Taking another deep breath, Yu Ziyu held her breath decisively. With a bang, the whole willow tree shook slightly. Immediately afterwards, countless willow branches suddenly hung down. For a moment, the entire willow tree seemed dead, and at this time, deep in the sky. Groan. There was another scream that pierced the cracked gold and stone, and the giant golden eagle suddenly spread its wings. A trace of human doubt flashed in the depths of his eyes, but the giant golden eagle slowly approached the willow tree on the ground. In its induction, the aura emitted by this willow tree suddenly became much weaker. Yes, much weaker, although it is still 3 or 4 meters away. This kind of aura is insignificant compared to its 7 meters. In other words, this place seems to have become a place for it to forage. However, what it doesn't understand is why the aura suddenly becomes weak. The look of doubt disappeared in a flash. The giant golden eagle did not delve into it. Simple intelligence does not give it much room for thinking. Compared to humans, its thinking is very simple and pure. Food is everything, and now, there's not much danger here, enough to forage for food. Boom! With a flutter of its wings, the giant golden eagle turned into an arrow and swooped over. However, what the giant golden eagle did not notice at this time was that rumble. With a slight vibration, the soil under Yu Ziyu's willow tree slowly broke open, and then, one after another, black tree roots more than 10 meters long were exposed. The winding tree roots are under the control of Yu Ziyu, like arms. Rotate. With an imperceptible murmur, the black tree roots slowly rotated. At the same time, the end of the tree root slowly twisted until it became a very sharp, awl shape. Looking up, it looked like a giant black gun more than 10 meters long. However, at this time, the giant black gun had twisted around and around, and the faint sound of the roots of the tree could be heard. as if it would snap in the next second. Moreover, this is not a spear. In order to ensure a sure kill, Yu Ziyu even called on the other 8 tree roots. In other words, a total of 9 spears were hidden around him, and at this time. Boom! A strong wind suddenly rose, causing Yu Ziyu's whole body to sway uncontrollably. Any tree that is beautiful in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. The giant golden eagle swooped in, and the strong wind was not too pleasant for Yu Ziyu. However, it was precisely because the giant golden eagle pounced with such alarming momentum that he didn't notice that huge black spears were already poised on the ground. Groan! With a touch of excitement, the giant golden eagle stretched out its claws, and then its entire body rushed towards Yu Ziyu's body. In Yu Ziyu's field of vision, he only saw a black shadow covering the sky, but at this moment, Yu Ziyu moving at a speed beyond human imagination. Boom, boom, boom. Accompanied by the continuous sound of breaking through the air, 9 giant black guns soared into the sky. Groan! As if it sensed the crisis, the giant golden eagle suddenly paused. However, how could it be possible that the speed it had already set off could be stopped in just a few seconds? With a bang sound, it flapped its wings, and before it had time to dodge, it was stabbed hard by a huge black spear. With a stab sound, red flames flew everywhere. Yu Ziyu's tree root, which was as hard as steel, poked into the wings of the giant golden eagle, setting off a series of flames. Damn, so hard, Dot exclaimed in her heart. Yu Ziyu was also a little helpless. It is worthy of being evaluated by the system as a golden wing with a hardness comparable to that of an alloy. The hardness is beyond words, however, that's all it is. P.S. Please give me flowers and collect them. Not much to say, there are already 2 updates early in the morning, *******. Remember, vote for flowers and comment. Reading books on May Day is a joy. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Grab a deposit now. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With a cruel heart, the other 8 black giant spears also cut through the air and stabbed the body of the golden giant eagle fiercely. The wings of the golden giant eagle are indeed unexplainable, but in other places, without feather coverage, Yu Ziyu didn't believe that they could have the same defense. As a result, the other 8 spears were stabbed more or less towards the belly of the golden giant eagle. This is the most vulnerable part of the raptor. Groan! The sharp cry of the giant golden eagle suddenly echoed throughout the valley. Flapping its wings, the giant golden eagle tried to make a final struggle, letting blood spurt from the wound, but its body kept being pulled back. However, how could Yu Ziyu, who was determined to kill with one strike, let go of such an opportunity? Explode for me! With a loud shout, the 9 giant black spears were twisted to a certain extent, and the power they had accumulated before suddenly exploded. This is the principle taken from the twisted spring. It uses the previous rotation to accumulate power, and before piercing the golden giant eagle when the body is deep in the body, the power will be completely exploded. In this way, it can also cause maximum secondary damage to the golden giant eagle. With a pop sound, the rapidly rotating black giant gun brought out a shower of blood. Yu Ziyu, who had no time to react, was even drenched, but at this moment, there was a crisp sound, and a cold system prompt suddenly sounded in his ears. Ding, you killed the 7th level mutated golden eagle, your evolution points plus 70. Ding, the 1st level evolution conditions have been met. The current evolution point is 70 tenths. Do you want to start the next stage of evolution? Level 1. Evolution. A burst of surprise flashed through her heart, and Yu Ziyu also realized something. Sure enough, as he guessed, there is a 1st level, and behind it, if he guessed correctly, there should be a 2nd level, a 3rd level, and so on. Thinking of this, Yu Ziyu glanced at the golden eagle, which had been completely penetrated into the sky by the black giant gun and lost its breath of life, and felt slightly relieved. Then, he whispered in his heart. Confirm evolution. After saying this, Yu Ziyu suddenly felt an energy pouring into his body. This energy was so turbulent and surging that the moment it poured in, Yu Ziyu's whole body was shaken. In the rapid and short sound of crackling, Yu Ziyu's bark continued to explode. What's even more unbelievable is that his entire tree body is constantly expanding, and in the blink of an eye, it has reached the thickness of two people hugging each other. The hug between the two of them was not very thick, but the problem is, it only lasts a few breaths. Moreover, the changes continue. Yu Ziyu could deeply feel that every inch of his body was constantly strengthening. The surging energy destroyed the cells, and then a warm current used them to repair them again, and the repaired cells are even more powerful. Faintly, there is already a transformation of the essence of life. However, it is true that Yu Ziyu's current evolution is a leap in life. Each of his branches continue to lengthen, reaching toward the sky with claws and teeth, but they became increasingly greener, and there was a hint of starlight in them, just like the strengthened branches before. However, at this time, it can be clearly seen even during the day. Looking from a distance, at the bottom of the canyon, a giant tree that seemed to be 20 or 30 meters high was shining like a star, and just as the light flickered, its countless branches seemed to be tumbling into the sky. Suddenly, the entire canyon was illuminated by his own light. Birds and beasts fly, beasts tremble. Suddenly, a real canyon overlord is rising, and in a place where the world can't see, even bigger changes are coming. Yu Ziyu's countless black tree roots are spreading and growing rapidly. They turned over the soil and drilled in at the same time. It was like an earth dragon turning over. For a while, ravines could be seen rising in the entire canyon. However, this is just the root of the tree. Yu Ziyu's lifeblood, the root of the main tree, is the big head. The main tree roots continue to go deep into the ground. The hard rocks could not stop his steps. As the canyon shook, his main tree roots had already reached about 100 meters underground before stopping. Boom! With a slight touch, Yu Ziyu could clearly feel the coldness. Is this an underground river? Amidst the surprise, Yu Ziyu was slightly shocked. However, for a moment, in his perception, countless small roots of the main tree roots clung to the rocks like spider webs, covering about 50 meters. Immediately afterwards, even greater coldness came one after another. It was not just as simple as the underground river. Yu Ziyu could clearly feel the continuous flow of unknown substances, all coming. This can't be the kind of spiritual river that contains a lot of unknown substances. My heart was shocked, and Yu Ziyu also had a guess. It was 100 meters deep underground and contained a large amount of unknown substances. It was not unreasonable to say that it was a spiritual river. However, this was not the time to care about these things, because, hey, accompanied by the chirping of cracked gold and stone, 8 peregrine falcons also rose in the wind, entrenched in the canopy of Yu Ziyu's tree, like a bird's nest the size of a wash basin. It seems that Yu Ziyu's evolution has also affected them. However, now Yu Ziyu, with the tree as the center, seems like a whirlpool, a small, spiritual energy storm has emerged. As the peregrine falcon closest to Yu Ziyu, he naturally benefited a lot. Not only the peregrine falcon, but also a red fox under the tree has begun a new round of transformation. The sharp claws are lengthening little by little, and the fiery red eyes deep in the eyes are becoming more and more brilliant, and its hair is constantly growing, and it is faintly becoming more beautiful. From a distance, this red fox, which is already as big as a calf, looks like it is bathed in flames, both sacred and terrifying. Howl! A long roar suddenly sounded in the canyon. The red fox bathed in flames jumped up until it landed on a boulder. Then, its cold eyes looked to all sides of the canyon, as if it was on guard for something. And the other side. Hey! There were screams one after another, and 8 adult-looking peregrine falcons, with a body length of about 70 centimeters and a wingspan of 1 or 2 meters, spread their wings and flew into the sky. There was another scream in unison, which really cut through gold and cracked rocks. The canyon was shaken. 8 peregrine falcons belonged to all directions, and their cold eyes like eagle eyes endlessly searched every corner of the canyon. P.S. Please give me flowers and collect them. Asterisk. I saw it, that I really saw it. Thank you for the reward, and thank you to every partner who supports me. Crimson must work hard. I stayed up late yesterday and slept until now. Start fighting now. Wait a minute, if you have time, Crimson will sort out the list and issue individual chapters one by one to thank you very much. Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's not in vain that I treat you so favorably. Smiling, Yu Ziyu also felt gratified when he saw the reaction of the red fox and the peregrine falcon. Such an act of protecting his master in his youth is enough to prove that his recent hard work has not been in vain. With this thought, Yu Ziyu's mind slowly sank into his body. Faintly, a deeper transformation has begun, and at this moment, at the entrance of the canyon. Step, step, step. Along with the sound of footsteps, two beautiful figures came slowly. However, at this time, He Qing'er and her sister He Ling'er looked pale. Following their gaze, the entire canyon was sparkling, as if it were dotted with stars. Sister, I am not blind. My sister, He Ling'er, tightened her clothes and stared blankly at the giant golden eagle with a wingspan of more than 5 meters not far from the canyon. Blood was flowing along the golden wings, and there were hideous wounds one after another. People can't help but shrink their pupils when they look at it, but what is even more shocking is that it is the 9 black spears that pierced the golden giant eagle. No, that is not a spear. Looking at the tangled roots, it is tightly. He Ling'er couldn't help but be silent. After a long time, he turned around and looked at her sister He Qing'er, who had the same disbelief on her face. He Ling'er was very suspicious. He opened his mouth and said, Dryad. Yes, tree monster. It comes from ancient myths and legends, and is a monster that is successful in cultivating trees. I have no idea. She shook her head. Her sister He Qing'er, who had always made up her mind, was a little confused at this time. However, the faintly pale cheeks told her inner fear. She just came to take a bath with her sister, but she didn't expect she would encounter such a sensational thing. A giant golden eagle fought against a willow tree. The willow tree suddenly rose and pierced the giant golden eagle. Oh my God, is this really the world she knows? Or is it really like TV? As reported in the past 2 months, He Qing'er has seen a lot of incredible news on TV. For example, there was an undercurrent surging deep in the Pacific Ocean, and then a black shadow swallowed up a luxury cruise ship. Again, for example, a passenger plane in the sky encountered a storm of crows and disappeared before it could land. Even He Qing'er, who came out of the depths of the mountain, did not believe this. Although it is indeed a bit mysterious in the past 2 months, it is not so outrageous yet. At most, some ferocious beasts rush out of the forest and attack pedestrians. In this regard, experts from all walks of life have volunteered and stepped forward. Of course, the most convincing thing these experts said is that there is an unknown substance in the air, and it is the influence of this unknown substance that causes animals to mutate to a greater or lesser extent. As for this unknown substance, the East calls it spiritual power. In the West, they call it magic. And this is the rise of extraordinary theory that has been most popular recently, which is the extraordinary era is about to come, promoted by some people. However, reports are reports, but He Qing'er didn't believe a word of it. Are you kidding? We talk about atheism every day, but now a paranormal era pops up. However, now, He Qing'er couldn't help but be shaken as he looked at the scene at the end of the canyon. Yes, shaken. It seemed that this was really not the era she was familiar with. The willow tree becomes a spirit, the golden eagle sheds blood. The survival of the fittest in the biological chain is vividly demonstrated here. Elder sister. Listening to his sister's very uneasy voice, He Qing'er grabbed her sister's hand, swallowed, and then comforted. Don't worry, let's go back now and report to the village official. As he said that, He Qing'er seemed to have thought of something again. A flash of light suddenly flashed across his eyes, and he said in surprise. The village official seems to have said that if anyone notices anything unusual, report it as soon as possible, but there will be rewards. He Ling'er nodded heavily, but He Ling'er didn't say much. It's not that she doesn't want to talk, but because at this moment, her legs have softened, and there is a peculiar smell coming from her buttocks. Gulu couldn't help but swallowed again. He Qing'er took a deep look at the willow trees in the canyon, and immediately grabbed his sister's hand and ran behind her without looking back. However, just as they were shortly after turning around and spraying away. Ah! Help! The frightening screams with high decibel levels pierced the sky. This is, suddenly awakened by these 2 high decibel sounds, Yu Ziyu also slowly raised his branches and looked towards the horizon. For a moment, what caught his eyes was that groups of black shadows were like a tide, coming from all directions. There were big black figures, a wild boar like an ox, with surging scarlet eyes. There is a green snake several feet long, drawing like an arrow from the string. There is also Groups of wolves flashing with green light, as well as the bees that Yu Ziyu hated most, made a buzzing sound. Of course, what attracted the most attention were the two girls running wildly a few hundred meters in front of the beast tied, with her hair disheveled. She looks like a crazy woman. P.S. Please collect and reward. Thank you, really thank you. Scarlet Red will definitely work hard to write. There are 1 or 2 more updates, all of them are here for you.